So tonight I'm gonna do a quick little tutorial since I haven't been online for a while, so I thought I would just give you a little sneak preview. I promise a more detailed tutorial on some really good hacking, pretty much the Windows operating system. But for tonight, this is not really hacking, but it's just more of a for your information type of thing. Very important sites that you should check out and be aware of, and pretty much very helpful tools that will kind of help you explore hacking as well as get more familiar with the industry as a whole. The first site I want to look at is by a security engineer. His name is Troy Hunt. If you're not familiar with him, he's pretty big in the security industry. I recommend you kind of look him up on Google. He's probably one of the leading ones in security forensics and pretty much the white hacker industry. He's been in DEF CON, and this site I'm going to show you is pretty big. So the name of the site is Have I Been Pwned, or owned pretty much. It's Have I Been Owned. Here's the URL. So when you first visit this site, the main thing that most people come to this site for is to check if their email address has been compromised. So if you're new, a newbie, or even if you're seasoned, IT engineers are always checking this. Everyone's always kind of using it just to see if their email addresses have been compromised or anything new in the industry. So if you just type in your email address here, let's say test@jake.com. I don't know jake.com, but let's test it out. It'll tell you if jake.com, test@jake.com has come up in any recent security breaches or security breaches in the past. Troy Hunt keeps one of the largest breach databases, databases on breaches. And he does all the due diligence on the back end to kind of organize the information, and it's a really good site to check out to see if your email address or your friend's email addresses or anyone else's email addresses has come up. From a hacking perspective or a pen testing perspective, I also think is a good tool because you can correspond employees. So for example, if you are doing a pen test on employees, you can use this site to see if their email addresses or any email address that they're associated with has come up in a breach. And if it has come up in a breach, guess what? You can retrieve that password and try it against their work password. Quite a lot of people reuse passwords. So if it has come up, you can try it or incorporate it into your brute force techniques, into your word password file, and you'd be surprised about the results. One other thing that you should note on Troy Hunt's site, other than great tools that he has, is the password file. So the password file has a pretty comprehensive list of all the passwords that have been breached. So if you want to download the password file, use it as one of your word lists. I highly recommend it. Once again, this is a great site by Troy Hunt. Definitely look him up. He has plural site tutorials. He's been in DEF CON. He's all around. So definitely look him up. Definitely join the site if you can, and just try your email, see what comes up. Try your friends, try your mother, your father's. You'll be surprised about the results, and it'll also give you an idea about the industry and security as a whole. The next site I kind of want to take a quick look at, and once again I said I'll make this tutorial very brief, is Qualys SSL lab test. Let me pull it up for you. Okay, so Qualys SSL lab test is a good test, a good site you should go to check pretty much the security of your SSL and TLS encryption on your websites. I'm not going to say a lot of websites use weak encryption or outdated encryption, and this will give you a good overview of how secure the site is and if there's vulnerabilities, basic vulnerabilities in the website. It's a really quick check. It's a really good tool to check, and I think this would be your most basic tool if you're doing a website assessment. In this case, you go to test test your server. Just to pick one off the top of my head, I will pick warriors.com. I don't know what the warriors.com site is. I don't really care for this case, but I just want to kind of give you an overview of what it returns. Oddly enough, in this case, we got unable to connect to the server. Let me find a good one to test. I came across this one here, so let's try pitchfork.com. I do not recommend doing anything to pitchfork.com. It's just I was reading an article on pitchfork.com, so that's why I'm testing it. So check it out. So here, as you can see, it tells you the cipher RSA 248, SHA 256 with RSA, which is pretty good. You'll find some interesting things in the website. You can look at all the certs. You can look at all the wildcard certs that are attached to it. It's usually pretty quick, so I'll just let this run through. Come on. Also gives you the IP address, which is good. The next step, you could do a scan on the IP. You can see what ports are open, etc., etc. So after this is done, we'll do just I'll show you another website that's pretty good. Alright, so that was pretty quick. You can see the site has pretty good strength. The certificate's great. The protocol support is good. Key exchange is pretty good, and the cipher strength is pretty good. So that's ideally what you want to see. You can see that the TLS2 is not enabled. 3, 1.0, 1.2, and 1.2, 1.3 is the only one enabled. Actually, 1.2 is the only one enabled. Which is pretty good. That's kind of what you want to see. You do see some weak ciphers in here, which you could try to exploit. You could see what ciphers are exploitable, but other than that, the site looks on the surface pretty good. So the last site I want to take a look at tonight is Shodan.io. Shodan.io kind of just tells you if there's any ports open on a particular public IP address. There's a lot of different ways you can get this. You can do an nmap scan, you can do a port scan, but this is just a quick non-intrusive way to see if there's any ports open, especially if you're just doing reconnaissance. You may not want to go through Tor and go through all that stuff. You can just quickly see if there's any known ports open for this public IP address. So for example, we did Pitchfork's IP. We can just put that in here, scan it, and this will quickly tell us if there's any open IP addresses or anything like that. So right away we see that port 80, 443 are the only open ports. There's a lot more information as well, but for the most part, we're looking at a secure. Why 80 is open, you need port 80, but that may give you some indication about some redirects over port 80 insecure, and you can maybe do some packet capture over that over the ports and see if you can get any information over 80. But for the most part, take it from there. So like I said, this was going to be quick, really quick overview. Take a look at the websites. They're very simple to use, but if you start putting the tools together, especially with the Kali and the more stuff that I'm going to go over with you, you're going to start getting a good insight into network security, and you're going to start seeing a lot of different things. I promise you some Wireshark, some Wireshark, what's the other one? Anyway, I promise you a lot more tutorials will be coming in the near future, so stay tuned, and let's get hacking. Talk to you soon, guys.